Today I got game week 10 predictions for the 2022-2023 season. We go over some very important games. We got Liverpool against Man City and we got some other games. So let's get right into the video. So guys, let's start the first game. So the first game we have between Brentford versus Brighton. And Brentford's last game, they got smashed against Newcastle 5-1. I think they got dominated for most of the time. Yes, at one point it was 2-1, but after that Newcastle just put the burners on and absolutely smashed Brentford in my opinion. And Brentford didn't really have a question or like a reply in my head. Like when I was watching that game, like normally with Brentford, they're a very good team. They're very well set up by Thomas Frank and his men. But this game against where I think they're over committed and they allowed Newcastle to just be incredible. And losing to Newcastle at St. James's Park is no shit, because most of Newcastle's wins this year I believe has come at home. I think probably 90% of the wins has come at home. Like Newcastle away ain't great, but with Brentford that game was disappointing in my opinion, and they can't be doing this against Brighton because Brighton are right now, okay, in the last game they lost against Tottenham, but Tottenham are a very good competitor. At the end of the day, Tottenham have a lot of good players. But with Brighton, the last game, as I said, they lost to Tottenham. They should have really won that game in my opinion. Like when you saw that game, you saw like, yes, Tottenham got the early goal and they just sat back, and I feel like if a bit more quality which Brighton had, they could have easily won that game or easily drawn. And like even at the end, Roberto De Zerbi, the manager for Brighton, even he said, guys, I don't think so. I deserve to lose this game. I think we played well, and I believe they did play very well, Brighton, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And Antonio Conte's, for what everyone knows, just shut out, he parks the bus. He has like 10 men behind. So my score prediction for Brentford against Brighton, I think Brighton have too much quality for Brentford in my opinion right now. I feel like Brentford are very mid-table teams. So my score prediction, I'm gonna go 3-1 Brighton. Next game we have is between Southampton versus West Ham. And let's go Southampton. Southampton's last game, they lost to Man City 4-0. And there's nothing wrong with losing Man City 4-0. In my opinion, Man City are a great team. And in that game really showed why Man City are levels ahead compared to most teams in the Premier League. I feel like Arsenal are the only team which can even come close to them. But even then, Arsenal, I feel like after the World Cup, they might start dropping off. But with Man City, the way they play the ball is incredible. But in this game against West Ham, I feel like Southampton ain't going to win. Because if this was the West Ham like a couple of weeks ago, I would say the game would be way closer. But like with Southampton, you never know. They won against Chelsea. They can pull off great victories. But West Ham, in the last game against Fulham, they absolutely dominated. Okay, yes, the possession was a bit close, but shots on target, West Ham dominated. And the way Jared Bowen, Paqueta, Schmeichel, all of them linking up is incredible. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like West Ham want to dominate this one. Even though it's in St. Mary's, I feel like West Ham will win this game. And I'm going to go for the 2-0 West Ham victory. Next game we have Leicester City against Crystal Palace. And with Leicester City, what a disappointing game against Bournemouth. Like Bournemouth right now, yes, in the 9th position in the Premier League, and they have actually a decent amount of games, but Bournemouth were there for the taking. Right now, they're in a transition period where they're going from one man to another. Yes, the Bournemouth players, they have a decent thing, but they're not good as Leicester City. And Leicester City, yes, with the first goal, they actually showed how dominant they could be. And they were dominant for most of the game, in my opinion, with Leicester. But they conceded, what, I think 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes, and it's poor Leicester City again. Like Leicester this year, defensively, they've been so poor. Like, okay, the last game, I think they won 3-0 against Nottingham Forest, but the game before, they lost 6-3 against Tottenham. With Arsenal, I think they conceded, 4 goals. With United, they conceded a goal. So they've been conceding a shitload of goals this year. And if Leicester don't stop conceding this many goals, they're going to go down. Because right now, they only got 1 win. And the only team which is worse than them now right now is Nottingham Forest. But let's move on to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace actually had a decent game against Leeds. Okay, in the first 10 minutes, Leeds absolutely dominated. Like there was one Leeds player who absolutely just tore up Crystal Palace defense, and he hit the post, and then one of the Leeds player was there for the rebound. But after that, Crystal Palace slowly started suffocating Leeds. With Leeds, you know, the way they're going to play is they're going to try to get the ball as much as they can, because as soon as they get the ball, they can start making tiki-taka football, and that's how Jesse Marsh really works. But Crystal Palace didn't give that, and Crystal Palace, them not giving that really helped them, because they got the first goal from a set piece, and everyone knows that Leeds last year from set pieces, they ain't great. This year it's not the same as well, but the second goal from Eze, no one's stopping that. So Crystal Palace got that win. My score prediction, I think it's going to be a close one, but I think Crystal Palace is going to take this with a 2-1 victory.
So guys, the next game we have is Man United against Newcastle. And that's with Man United. The recent game was Everton. It was a very tough one because before that, Everton won like a 3 or 4 streak where they didn't lose. And this year, Everton, okay, yes, they had a poor start to the season. And everyone thinks of the Everton, which was last year where they were terrible, were conceding goals left and center. But this year, they went and gone and done proper business. And they lost some like very key players in like Richarlison. They lost a couple of other players. But Frank Lampard's done really well. Okay, yes, he's got an injection of cash and he's got a lot of money to help him. But the signing of Conor Gaudy and the signing of James Tarkowski has really implemented defense. And in the game against Man United, well, we considered early goal, but we did really well to come back. But we can't do this against Newcastle because with Newcastle, if you look at the last game, they absolutely tore up Brentford. And even the game before, they tore up Fulham. Okay, Fulham is a first year back in the Premier League, but Fulham have been on a decent run. They've been some decent teams. Let's be real, Fulham ain't no joke. Like, they made a comeback against Nottingham Forest. They took Liverpool pretty deep. And I'm still talking about Liverpool, but that was like a big team they played and they took them really, really deep. I don't think they played Tottenham yet, but I think West Ham, they did okay against West Ham in that game as well. So as I say, it's not easy. Like, Newcastle is not going to be an easy team for Man United. Like, this season they've been honourable, and especially last game to win 5-1 against Brentford. Bruno Guimaraes with what, 2 goals, incredible in my opinion, and his stats in the Premier League are just different gravy in my opinion. So what my score prediction going before this game? I feel like Man United at home, it's going to help us, and I feel like it's going to be a draw though. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
Yes, next game we have is Wolves against Nottingham Forest, and both teams had a very poor start to the Premier League. With Wolves, the recent game against Chelsea, they were very poor in my opinion. Yes, right now they're going through a transition phase. The manager recently got sacked, and the players just don't look ready for it. I think losing Conor Gaudy this year, it's a big loss to Everton. I feel like Conor Gaudy last year really kept down the defense, and I think they lost Roman Saiz as well. Roman Saiz was another good centre back, so they lost Conor Gaudy and Roman Saiz, and Pedro Neto hasn't really been the same since last season. Raul Jimenez hasn't really been the same ever since his head injury, ever since he got the operation back. And yes, they signed some players, but the players they've signed is not good enough. Adama Traore is not good enough. The guy they got from Leverkusen, the South Korean, he only looks like a decent player for them. He's trying his best, but even he's not good enough. This game against Nottingham Forest is a game they need to win. But let's go on to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have not the greatest start. Currently, as we record this, Nottingham Forest are playing, what's the name, Aston Villa. So I think Aston Villa will win this game because I think it's Aston Villa at home. And Villa had a shaky start, but they're kind of getting back to the ways. They're kind of getting a couple of wins, a couple of draws. And with Nottingham Forest, the last game, which I remember watching, was the game against Leicester City. And what was the score on that? It was 3-0. Leicester, the team who couldn't get any wins, Nottingham Forest gained them the first win. So I'm going for Wolves with a 2-0 victory.
So guys, let's run to the next game. So the next game we have between Leeds United versus Arsenal. And Leeds United's recent game, the loss against Crystal Palace, was 2-1. In the first 10 minutes, Leeds United looked very decent. I forgot who scored the goal. His name starts with the S. But it was a very good run from one of the Leeds players to absolutely rip open the Crystal Palace defense. And after that, he just made sure he was in the right place, right position, got the rebound and got in. But after that, they didn't do a lot. But like Leeds, you know how to beat them. With Leeds, if you really suck them away from not having the ball, it's really easy to overcome them. And with Leeds, they have some decent players. The 2 Americans one from RB Leipzig, one from RB Salzburg, Sinestra, who recently got sent off. Dan James used to be there, he's not there anymore. What's his name? Bamford, he's always injured. His peak, because Bamford's probably the best goal contribution. They have Rodrigo, he's actually decent. He was very good in the game against Chelsea. Like, Chelsea have been pretty questionable this year, but that was under a different manager, and now Chelsea are looking more ready for this season. Like last Chelsea game against Wolves, they did okay, but Chelsea game's coming up later. But with Leeds, if you suck them away from the ball and just put as much pressure as you can, Leeds can't cope with that. And if Leeds don't cope with that, they're gonna get fucked. Because with Arsenal is so dominant with the ball. Let's look at the recent game against Liverpool. Like, Arsenal, that game scored within a minute, and this is a Liverpool side which, okay, yes, right now they have a lot of injuries. It's not going the right way, but it's a Liverpool side who 1 point of City or 2 points of City last year, won the Premier League 2 years ago. I've had 90 plus points and so I won the Premier League. I've had a great thing. Mo Salah with the Golden Boot. Mo Salah recently scoring the fastest hat-trick in UCL history. So like, this is not Liverpool side, which is a joke. Like, yes, okay, they've lost Sadio Mane, but after that, it's no joke. But Arsenal in the game absolutely dominated. The way they held the ball and really put pressure on Liverpool, and the way they were just, I love the way they play. The passes behind people is incredible. And I feel like for this game, if Leeds are going to struggle, because Arsenal love have the possession of the ball, so they're going to really suffocate Leeds. So my score prediction, I feel like Arsenal will dominate this game with a 4-1 victory.
So guys, next game I was Fulham against Bournemouth, and Fulham recently lost the game against West Ham against the London rivals with a 3-1 loss. And in that game, Fulham really got dominated in my opinion. Fulham actually had a very good start to the season, and currently they're still doing okay in my opinion. Like I believe Fulham were the first people to score in that game, but then West Ham made a comeback. West Ham got the penalty, and I feel like the penalty was the jump start for West Ham in that game. Skimaka got the 2 goals in 2 games. He's really started finding his way. Paqueta, I feel like he's doing very well in the Conference League, but hasn't really showed his way in the Premier League yet. But with Fulham, like they actually have a decent team, and I feel like they're kind of starting to drop off. But let's move on to Bournemouth. Bournemouth in the last game, they actually played quite poor in the first half, but in the second half they played really well. And as I said, Bournemouth currently are in a transition period, and they're going through managers. They're trying to find a new manager, and they actually did really well. A lot of people are saying that Leicester were very poor in the second half, but I think Bournemouth did really try. They got 2 goals within the 68th minute and 71st minute. So you can't say 2 goals were lucky. I think Bournemouth really put the pressure on Leicester and really allowed them to get the victory. I think it's going to be a very good game, but I think it's going to end in a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
So guys, next game between is Aston Villa versus Chelsea, and my prediction will be a quick one for this. With Aston Villa this year, they've been incredibly poor, staying at 60th position with 4 losses right now. With a team where Steven Gerrard's going to spend a decent amount of money signing the likes of Diego Carlos. Okay, it's sad that he's got ACL injuries, but injuries are a big part of the Premier League. I need to work around it, and he's clearly not. Like the last 2 games, they've got 2 stalemate games where they really struggled to make creative chances, in my opinion. And if Steven Gerrard carries on this way, then this game against Chelsea, if he gets popped, and then the next couple of games he gets absolutely beaten, I think the sack is coming for him. Like yes, at Rangers he did a great job, but Aston Villa has really struggled. Like he hasn't done anything incredible. I would say, oh my god, this guy's done a madness. Like Dean Smith was a great manager for him, and I thought Frank Lampard was going to get sacked, but clearly now, what's his name? Frank Lampard has actually found his ways, and Steven Gerrard is really struggling. And with Chelsea in the recent game, and recently they've actually been doing okay. Like the last game against Wolves, okay, yes, it's still Wolves, then a transition period, but Chelsea played really well in that game. Like in my opinion, like Havertz with a great goal, Brojan with a great goal, and then Pulisic, the guy who never scores, actually scored a decent goal. And the way they controlled possession was incredible. So my score prediction, I feel like Aston Villa are going to get popped, in my opinion. They're coming against Chelsea side, which is slowly finding the ways, with the Aston Villa side who are very lockless and stalemate right now. So my score prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chelsea victory.
So guys, let's move to the final game of Saturday. So final game on Saturday was between Tottenham versus Everton. And with Spurs in the last game, they got really lucky to get that victory. Yes, they played park the bus system, played the Antonio Conte football. Like, I'm not saying they got really lucky, but there was points of that game where Brighton should have really scored, in my opinion. And I thought they came out quite lucky to get a 1-0 victory. But Spurs, what they did in that game was, their thinking was quite bad, because like ball to ball, they were pretty much better than Brighton. Yes, Brighton are a very good team right now. Graham Potter have a great set of players, and Roberto De Zerbi has carried on with that, and he knows that all of Brighton players are very comfortable with the ball, but Spurs players are just better, in my opinion. Harry Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Basuma. So what Spurs should have really done in the game is make sure that they carried on counter-attacking, and they did do that most of the game. But the final third pass was very disappointing. Like they could have scored multiple more goals, but the final third pass was what let them down. And in that game, Spurs were pretty lucky. But let's move on to Everton. Everton actually had a decent game against Man United. I feel like both Man United and Tottenham played the exact same way. Like both of us scored a goal or 2 goals and just parked the bus. With Spurs, they kept a clean sheet, but United, yes, we made a mistake and we let Alex Iwobi score, and that was a really good goal for Alex Iwobi. But with Everton, they should have really scored a couple of goals in the end. Like Pickford had a great chance to the end to make it level. Like United were still through a transition period, is 1 step forward, 10 steps back. So with Everton against Tottenham, I feel like it's going to be a carbon copy of what happened to Everton against Man United. United's going to score a couple of goals, while Spurs is going to score 1 or 2 goals and just park the bus. So my score prediction, I'm going to go, Everton will probably score, but it will be a bit too late. So I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham.
So guys, let's move on to the most important game of game week 10, and that's the game between Liverpool versus Man City. Last year, this game would have been an absolute cracker, but this year it's only going one way, the Man City way. With Liverpool in the last game against Arsenal, they were terrible. Like, that glimpses of doing well, like Darwin Núñez did relatively well, Firmino did relatively well, but Arsenal just looked a level ahead. And last year with Liverpool, like the dominance they had, where they would just control possession against these teams of Arsenal, where they would just overrun them. This year is not the same thing. It was like a full 180-10 where Arsenal dominated most of the possession, and Arsenal were just so good in that game. Saka was incredible. Odegaard absolutely slipped it through Trent. And right now, yes, Trent's going through a bit of a phase, but with Trent, you still have to rate how good he is. He's literally won every cup competition by the age of 22, 23. Incredible. And this man is, of course, every player has an off season. Yes, like Virgil van Dijk's out in off season, but over the last couple of years, how good has Virgil van Dijk been for Liverpool? Like, was it last year or the year before where they lost Virgil van Dijk to the injury with Jordan Pickford for most of the season, and you saw how much Liverpool struggled that season. But ever since he's come back last year, they came second, made to a Champions League final, won two European Cups. Like, not European Cups, sorry, won 2 domestic cups and got to Champions League final. They've been really good. But Man City this year has just been on all different gravy. Only Arsenal, the team which has been playing better than Man City. But with Man City, I feel like after the World Cup, they're just going to go to a whole new level, because the squad rotation which Man City have is just incredible in my opinion. And losing Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, losing a couple of important players, they've really replaced them very well in my opinion. Like, Arlen's is a cheat code in the game. This guy has got to the quickest hat-trick, 3 hat-tricks. Like, it took what was it? Ruben van Nistelrooy, something like 60 games. Michael Owen, who's a legend of the game, something like 47 games, and only took Arlen 8 games or 7 games, which is incredible in my opinion. This guy is in the right place and right position, and like even if he doesn't want to score, he will score. So this game, I feel like, is going to be a domination from Man City. Yes, Liverpool are good at Anfield, and they haven't lost in Anfield like in a long time. But the last game in Anfield was a game against Brighton, and Brighton should have really won that game. And Brighton are nowhere near the levels of Man City. So my score prediction for this game, I'm going to go for Man City with a 4-0 victory. I know it's a crazy one, but Man City are getting it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. These are my game week 10 predictions for the 2022-2023 season. Guys, please put all your predictions in the comment section below. Do you think Man City are going to absolutely dominate Liverpool? Do you think United can come back against a Newcastle team which are really good right now? Do you think would Leeds be Arsenal anyway, or Arsenal will absolutely dominate that game? We've got some very important games. And guys, please like, subscribe, comment, do the usual, and I'll see you later. Peace.